A narcissistic psychopath or sociopath is a dime a dozen. It's not hard to find someone who's an opportunist, who's a gold digger, who will use you for emotional or financial gain, for social status, for opportunity, or for recognition. It's not hard at all. And these are people who essentially are professionals to a certain extent. They will play the role of a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or even a husband or a wife. Or better yet, for the narcissist, they will use you to basically be an object, to be an icon, to be someone that represents their idealization. And what I mean by that is they don't look at people and people that they interact with as human beings. They look at them more as, I've got the wife and the 3 kids. I've got the wife and the dog. I've got the husband and the 2 kids. Like they don't look at people as fully rounded 3-dimensional human beings. It's more of what it looks like on paper. And so it's not difficult to find those at all. As soon as you realize how, if you haven't realized, replacing the narcissist is one of the easiest things that you can do. I feel like there are way too many videos and there's way too much promotion on what do they think? What do they think about you? Are they still watching you? Are they going to hoover you? Are they going to come back? Be your best self. Show them. Prove to them. They shouldn't even be a thought. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't care. The biggest thing is to pretend as if they never existed, as if they don't exist. We've talked about this before. It's a demonic entity attachment. It's a demon, so to speak. And I'm going to get a little bit more into the supernatural element in future videos, but we're talking about people who are operating on a lower frequency, who are basically hosts and vessels for something that is much darker. It's more of an entity. They're not what you think they are. One of the dangers of the glow-up game is you have people who are really excited about being their best self so they can show to the narcissist that they had worth or value, or that they're important, or that they're high status. They always were. And the issue of this is, let's say, for example, you get into a relationship with a narcissistic psychopath or sociopath, and you end up separating from them or whatnot. So you motivate yourself to get in better shape, to go back to school, to start a new business, to work on improving yourself, to being your best version of yourself, to being your best you. Now you've got it all back together. You've got, a great house, a great car. Hypothetical analogy. You are doing better than you ever have, and you're sort of rooting this or basing this within the narcissist, within that past relationship. To a certain extent, you're kind of giving them credit for your own success and for your own growth, when they were nothing more than a stumbling block or a roadblock to your success and to your own growth. But the issue is with this, unfortunately, and this is really sad, you are going to end up more than likely attracting in or bringing in another narcissist who also has a similar dark entity attachment. And as a result, you may fall victim to thinking that, okay, now I'm with a man and he's more successful, or he's more prominent and he has more money and he's, got his own stable businesses, and this is why I deserve now, because I've done this work, right? Or what they call the high value man or the high value woman. And what happens is you end up with another narcissist. You end up stuck in this narcissistic paradigm or narcissistic trap. And I find that a lot of people, once they've been in a relationship with one, they end up going from one to another, to another, to another, and inevitably sometimes may even become narcissistic themselves. And the key is to not depend your worth or your value or your thoughts about yourself or your career or what you're doing on an individual or on a group of people. If you have a boss that fires you, don't look at your worth in terms of your boss and, I'm going to show him by getting a better job, or I'm going to show her by starting up a company that'll be 10 times bigger than theirs, Because not only are you to some extent giving them acknowledgement or recognition, on top of that, it creates a bigger problem, which is you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And so these are some of the things that I'm really concerned about when I see a lot of these teaching programs. There's a word called rumination, which is basically just wandering and living in the past and just thinking about it over and over. I feel like a lot of these programs are designed to get you to like ruminate, or designed to make whatever happened to you a part of your experience, to where you're essentially holding on to it. The key is, again, with the narcissistic psychopath or sociopath, pretend as if they never existed. They are a dime a dozen. And sadly, I've seen over the years, they keep getting better and better and better. So if you meet one, you're like, oh my gosh, that's like the best looking one, the coolest one, the most exciting one, the richest one. Oh, you know, this woman had everything. She was so perfect. Or this man had everything. He was so great and he had businesses or whatever. If you haven't fully removed yourself from the narcissistic paradigm, what ends up happening is you end up meeting another one who's that much better. You can end up potentially meeting another one who's that much better, but it's the same problems and the abuse will be worse. It's really diabolical. I don't want to get too much into the supernatural parts right now, but again, watch the movie Nefarious if you haven't seen it, because that movie sort of lays out how it's all done. Narcissistic psychopaths and sociopaths use what's called monitoring spirits, and monitoring spirits can be a variety of things. Monitoring spirits can be the use of spyware technology. For example, certain apps that will probably be banned pretty soon, that are designed for collecting data and tracking information. Certain people can search things on the dark web and get access to your camera, to your microphone, etc. They use hacking tools, they use surveillance tools. That's nothing to don't be afraid of it, but it's just one of the ways that they monitor. Overall, narcissistic psychopaths and sociopaths have different ways of being able to monitor you. The biggest way and the best way is through you, which is why it's really important to fully be over them, to not have any old wounds or lack of closure or wondering if and when. Like, throw all of that away. Throw all of that away, because you do not want to get caught up in a paradigm with them where they just keep coming in and they keep getting worse. Instead, it's time to move on from that.